Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for 6 things we learned from Chelsea 2, Fulham 0. Mauricio Pochettino has won a trophy at Chelsea Football Club. The Premier League Summer Series is ours, and considering just how bad last season was, we are going to revel. We are going to celebrate even winning a friendly trophy, because Pochettino has done what he could never do at Spurs. Win silverware. Yes, there's a long way to go before we start talking about successes at Chelsea for Mauricio Pochettino, but during these pre-season friendlies, the majority of which against Premier League opposition, Chelsea have looked good. It is night and day between last season and this season. Final opportunity to be at the first game of the season. This is officially the last video that I'm plugging for my Telegram. Top link in the description. If you're not following it, you can't win the 2 VIP tickets that I'm giving away to Chelsea versus Liverpool. The first time to see Pochettino in Premier League action for Chelsea. So, how did we start this game off? Gabriel Slonina gets 60 minutes, starting goalkeeper. Malo Gusto, Bashir Humphreys, Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, with Enzo Fernandez partnered with Andre Santos in front of the defence. Kane Chukwuemeka, Raheem Sterling, Christopher Nkunku, and Mason Burstow. Chelsea start the game, giving away a couple of corners. Fulham, they're coming out the blocks early. I think Fulham knew, because of the lack of depth within their squad during this pre-season tour, they wanted to try and come at Chelsea early, maybe try and get themselves a goal or two, make Chelsea chase the game, because when it came to energy, by the end of that game, Fulham looked pretty flat. And I think Silva might have his work cut out this season unless they invest in the team. But keeping it about Chelsea, we were playing some really good football. Raheem Sterling looked to be a lot more energetic in this one than we've seen on any other game so far during this pre-season. And I think Raheem Sterling's probably been told by Pochettino, he's like, look, if you're not going to be able to give what Chelsea have signed you for in the first place, there are players knocking on the door. And I think it was actually night and day. The Sterling performance in the first half, and then Angelo Gabriel in the second. Sterling was significantly better. Ben Chilwell had a massive game for Chelsea, showing once again that at any given opportunity, the first thing on his mind is get forward. He forced a brilliant save out of Leno earlier on in the game. And to be honest, I think when you look at the difference in all of Chelsea's left-sided players, Ben Chilwell and Marc Cucurella, when you're talking about the position that they play, what they're known as, it's night and day. Ben Chilwell could easily be a left-sided forward. He strikes the ball incredibly well. In that second half, the left side is no longer an outlet. You've got Ian Maatsen playing over there, and Nkunku was over there at times as well. Lewis Hall comes on, does well, but the way that Chilwell seems to be playing under Mauricio Pochettino, we've seen the comments that he's made about Poch, saying how after 2 or 3 weeks he feels like he could run through a brick wall for him, which is a massive statement to make when you look at the way that players weren't seemingly playing under the instructions of managers last season. Everybody seems to know their role in this Chelsea team, which is quite surprising considering how quickly Pochettino has been here. Not for very long. We've won 3 out of 4 matches, playing good football in every single sense. And Ben Chilwell gets an assist also for Thiago Silva's header, which gives Chelsea the lead. You then see Mason Burstow trying to get involved. I think maybe at times he was trying too hard. He was giving away petulant little fouls, trying to get himself involved. And I'll tell you one thing before we get into the boxes in this video today. These water breaks are probably teaching us more about this team, about Pochettino's team, than any of the stuff we're seeing on the field. Mauricio Pochettino, during that first half water break, you can hear him telling Mason Burstow to drop deeper, allow Christopher Nkunku, as playing as the number 10, to make those runs, allow the speedy players, the likes of Chilwell, Raheem Sterling, to be able to get in behind. When Burstow did that, he kind of removed himself from the game. He wasn't up to the pace. But again, he's not really had many minutes at this level. Fulham are a good side, and I think it pretty much shows that Jackson, Broja and Nkunku will probably be the go-to strikers for Pochettino at the start of this season. But speaking of go-to players, Thiago Silva is box number 1. He gets the first green of the 6 Things We Learned video. How does Thiago Silva during pre-season, when everyone is trying to get to a certain level of fitness, the first corner that Chelsea have, I think it was like the first or second corner of the game for us, Thiago Silva is the highest one leaping. It is a brilliant header. It's a good corner from Ben Chilwell. He puts it into that area. I call it the Drogba area after that Champions League final goal. Thiago Silva gets up and then the leverage just sets him above everybody else. And it's a bullet header to make it 1-0 to Chelsea. The celebration is also beautiful. You see Thiago Silva, it might just be a friendly against Fulham, but he's kissing the badge. It is something you absolutely love to see. And obviously earlier today, the big news regarding Chelsea Football Club is that we have secured a deal, according to David Ornstein of The Athletic, for Axel Disasi, the Monaco centre-half, for 45 million euros, which is a big one considering Trevor Chalobah only manages 15 minutes of the second half. He goes off injured. But Thiago Silva, after that news dropped of Chelsea agreeing the deal for Disasi, who's a really good centre-back, by the way, a centre-back who never gets injured. I think he's played over 100 games for Monaco since he signed for them in August of 2020. Really good centre-half. Again, another French centre-back. Fofana's not going to be there for the season. But Thiago Silva is reminding us that he's not going anywhere. And the commentary on Sky also was talking about the game against Newcastle where Thiago Silva didn't play any minutes of football, yet he is the one leading the box-to-box runs post-match for Chelsea's fitness. So Thiago Silva again gets Chelsea off the mark. I've given box number 2 to Ben Chilwell because I think when you look at the way Chile plays, if there is a way that Benjamin bloody Chilwell doesn't get injured this season, then he's got to be in everyone's fantasy Premier League team for a start, because I think Chilwell will score so many goals. If you look at the way that he plays, he's one of the furthest forward in almost every single Chelsea attack. There's a brilliant chance in the 29th minute where he forces a magnificent save out of Bernd Leno. It's a brilliant piece of play from Raheem Sterling. And then one thing we've seen from Sterling during this pre-season, indecisiveness, that final ball just not quite being good enough. He makes that final ball and then Ben Chilwell gets into a really good position and forces a really good save out of Leno. I think Chilwell, if he can stay fit, this is going to be the year that he also stakes a claim to be England's permanent left back. I think number 3. I've literally slept for 2.5 hours before this, by the way, so just allow me if there is any slowness within this video. Box number 3, Christopher Nkunku scores again 4 minutes before half time, and he's just in the right place at the right time. Kane Chukwuemeka, I thought, was excellent. As soon as we saw that water break, you hear Pochettino saying to him, "Can't play as the number 10. That is when we see Chukwuemeka at his best. And he gets a brilliant little breakaway. The ball is kind of bouncing around and it needed someone to take it under control, move forward with it. Carnes does that, forces another good save out of Leno, had a good game, the Fulham keeper. But Christopher Nkunku is just there lurking. He's arriving. And he taps it in for his 3rd goal of this pre-season tour. And I think as much as he might not be the striker, he's playing as kind of a second striker, as a number 10. Christopher Nkunku, he stays on at the beginning of the second half. He's one of only 2 players, Slanina and Nkunku, continue at the beginning of the second half. And I think alongside Ian Maatsen, who's basically played in every position possible during this pre-season, Christopher Nkunku is going to be one of Pochettino's guys that he can use on the left wing. Could be a striker, can be as a number 10. And he might not get on the ball as much as he would like to. He almost managed an assist for Enzo Fernandez as well, which Enzo's finishing was absolutely questionable, to say the least. He didn't have the greatest game today, but Santos I thought was good. Nkunku, Chelsea have such a brilliant player on our hands with this signing. Moving in to box number 4, I've given a green to Alfie Gilchrist and Levi Colwill together. They didn't have too much to do. As I've said throughout the video, the pace of the second half wasn't as in the high in tempo, intensity, as it was in the first. But Alfie Gilchrist comes on for Trev, looks really good. Bashir Humphreys as well, alongside Silva in that first half. I think Chelsea, as much as we may have just brought in Axel Disasi, I think now, when you look at the players that we've got, Gilchrist, Humphreys, Trev, I just don't see Chelsea investing in a centre-back now for a very long time. Yes, Brighton still have a funny feeling they might be able to get Colwill. Maybe with this Disasi signing, even though he's a right centre-back, Colwill is clearly a left centre-back. Maybe this is Chelsea setting up for the idea that they might need to use Colwill in the move for Moises Caicedo. I just really hope it's not. Gilchrist and Colwill get box number 4. Box number 5, Nicholas Jackson. Even when he doesn't score and he doesn't get an assist today, which we've been used to seeing from him in this pre-season, his movement is just magnificent. The runs in behind, the runs to drop deep. Nicholas Jackson, in my opinion, is an all-round complete forward. And I think Chelsea, when we bought him, for myself at least, I was sceptical. I was nervous. I was like, well, we've bought a striker who scored 9 in his last 8 in La Liga, but is that going to be enough to make the step up to the Premier League? We've played against Brighton, Newcastle, Fulham, and Nicholas Jackson has given every single one of those defences a horrifying time. The strength that he shows when he's got his back to goal as well, he's a powerful striker. And as much as I don't want to be buying into the comparisons to put too much pressure on his shoulders, the man said he wants to emulate Didier Drogba. He wants to do better than Bar, Anelka, Drogba. And with the attitude that he seems to have, the work rate that he's putting in during this pre-season, the shifts from Nicholas Jackson is absolutely magnificent to see. And I think Chelsea, we don't need to look at another striker now. You know, Victor Osimhen might be going to Saudi Arabia. Where the bloody hell has that one come from? But Nicholas Jackson is probably one of the big reasons why Mauricio Pochettino has won a Chelsea trophy. The Premier League Summer Series, Chelsea beating Fulham 2-0, gets us a trophy. And I know it's pre-season. We don't want to get too excited. You know, we can make jokes about Spurs, but then we can also not treat this the way that they treated the Audi Cup. This is a stepping stone. This is a place to start. And I think what Poch has done here is he's created a winning formula in the early stages of his Chelsea career, even in pre-season, and we can only be happy with this. 6 things we learned from Chelsea 2, Fulham 0, brilliant stuff from Chelsea. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also hit the like button on this video if you did enjoy it. We've won again, and we've got Dortmund in a couple of days' time. Come on, you Blues.